Afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming along. So this is the second ChompSaw webinar that we're doing. Going to introduce Max and his team in a second. Just a few little bits that I'm going to stick in the chat of kind of notices and different opportunities and things. So let's put it in there. I think that's everybody. So you know of our webinars because you're on one already, obviously. So we've got everyone. There you go. We've got another one in February looking at SketchUp. So if you're interested in different CAD opportunities, I've just dropped the link in there for the SketchUp one. That's the only other one I think this month. The next ones then go into March, but they're all on our website. There's various different ones coming up in March as well. If I stick in another link also, because not enough people know about this site called Easy Fundraising that we've linked with, and basically it's free money for your school. You can share the link with parents or the staff members, and basically every time they do some online shopping, might be your weekly supermarket shop, buying a washing machine, everything and anything in between, then the company that you buy it from gives a percentage of money to your school. Doesn't cost anything. It's legit. It sounded one of those kind of too good to be true things, but it is legit, and quite a few schools are already taking part of it as well. And then other bits as we go through. I've got links to ChompSaw stuff on my site, but we can do that as we go through. So without further ado, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to hand over to Max, who is one of the co-founders at ChompSaw, live from the States. So over to you, Max. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the intro, Ryan. It is great to be here hosting this webinar with D&T, and I'm excited to talk more about the ChompSaw and what we do, and how educators are using the ChompSaw right now, and also just some new things that we've started developing that should make it even more effective for use in schools. So I've got just a brief little presentation, and then I have a live demo prepared as well. I'm going to start off with that presentation. So can everyone see this all right? It should just be a big blue screen with a little bit of text on it. All right, okay. So we're going to be talking about ChompSaw use. I didn't put an agenda. I meant to put an agenda in this slide to give us everybody a heads up what we're going to be talking about. But mostly, we're just going to be talking about who we are, what the ChompSaw is, how teachers are using it, and how you could be using it in the future. So first, to start, who is ChompShop? We are a small team. We're based in the United States, namely in Philadelphia. So we're here on the East Coast, but a lot of our team is also on the West Coast. Two of our team are actually currently going on a small tour in Europe. They were at a fair in Germany, and then they came and visited D&T, and now they're on their way to Denmark to visit another partner of ours who helps sell ChompSaws in Europe. And we have been working on the ChompSaw for about 4 years. Well, 4 years ago is when the concept was first developed. The product itself has only been available for sale for a little over a year now. So just a little over a year, almost a year and a half at this point. So what is the ChompSaw? It is a kid-safe power tool for cutting cardboard. That's it. That's what it does. Is the whole thing was built when I say 4 years ago, we were both students at the university here in Philadelphia. And my co-founder, Cassie, who's behind me, she's busy working, but she was in this class, and her goal was to teach students the design thinking process. So we're talking the whole empathizing with potential users by doing research, testing, prototyping, repeat, empathizing, the whole cycle that repeats over and over again. That was the focus of her project in this class. And by the end of it, she came out with something that almost looked like the ChompSaw. It had the same idea where we wanted to promote the building with cardboard, using your hands to build and create, because we found that kids were really great at the design process, but where they met the most hangups was in the prototyping stage, because they didn't have tools that allowed them to take their ideas and bring them to reality without a lot of struggle or help from adults. So we wanted to build a way for them to craft and build and create and prototype independently and in a fun way. So that's where the power tool side of things comes in. So this is a fully operational power tool, but it is also totally safe for kids to use. And I'll show you all that when I run the demo in a little bit. But that's what the ChompSaw is, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions about how it works, and I'm happy to explain all of that. I'll do the demo first, and maybe that'll answer a couple questions, and then we can figure out more. But here's a quick overview of how it works, and this is included in the documentation that it comes with. But essentially, you have what we refer to as the cutting head, which is this kind of large silver guard piece. And you can see it if you look in the video where I've got a top-down view of the chomp saw, that gray circle in the middle. So that's the guard that prevents fingers from getting cut. It just creates a physical barrier so that you can't actually get your fingers in there. The gap where the cutting happens is actually just wide enough for cardboard to fit in. So it's about 3.5 millimeters, which is great for most cardboard. There are some cardboard that are a little thick, and especially when you get into double-walled cardboard, that's where there are more limitations. But our priority was keeping this safe for children. The limit for a gap of this sort of function was 4 millimeters. So we erred on the safe side, went 3.5. It works great for most cardboard and an abundance of other materials, including foam, paper, fabrics, felt. We've shoved a lot of things in the ChompSaw and it works great. It's been extensively tested on cardboard, and I can vouch a lot for its performance on cardboard over an extended period of time. The other materials we've only tested for shorter periods of time. They've probably gotten more test experience in schools, and we haven't seen that test data ourselves yet. But um, we do know that if it fits in this gap, it gets cut. This does include clothes and hair. Those will both get cut if you feed them through. But what makes this safe when compared to most other power tools is there's no exposed spinning parts. So, and if you had long baggy sleeves or you had long hair dangling over and you were operating maybe a table saw, which we don't recommend kids operate a table saw, but some other tool which has a spinning motor or a spinning blade that's exposed, hair and clothes can get caught in there, and that creates a very dangerous situation. The chomp saw, on the other hand, operates using an up and down cutting motion. And so there's no spinning action. Anything that goes in just gets clipped, and then that's the end of the story. So if you put your hair in, you can give yourself a nice haircut. Put your shirt in, you can give yourself a nice, you could do your own tailoring job. The same as scissors. If a kid chooses to cut their hair with scissors or cut their shirt with scissors, same problem. But your hair's not getting stuck, and you're not getting pulled into the machine, which is what the reason so many power tools are considered too dangerous for children. So we avoided that. We also have done extensive safety testing so that you don't have to worry about the safety. That's all on us. These are all the standards that we've met both in Europe, Australia, the UK, and the US and Canada. We're slowly expanding to other markets as well, but this is the testing we've done so far with a third party to make sure that the chomp saw is safe to be used. Again, so that you don't have to worry about your students getting hurt. We've done the testing and we haven't hurt any kids, but we have tested it with kids and guaranteed that it is safe. So now everyone can switch their attention over to the other Max Lichty, which is just my phone, which I've got pointed at a chomp saw. I'm going to give just a brief demo of how the chomp saw works, and then maybe we'll open it up for questions for a little bit on the operation of the chomp saw, and then I'm going to get more into how the chomp saw can be used in a school setting. So I'm moving over. Can everyone still hear me okay? Can I get just a thumbs up? Okay, great. So this here is the chomp saw. I've got it set up to be UK friendly here in centimeters, but it does actually have both sides. You have the centimeters and an inches side. So depending on if your students prefer one or the other, which we know this really applies mostly in the States, but we've got them both. This lid is removable. There's a storage compartment underneath. I have a few accessories that I'll explain what they do later. but those can be stored down there. The power supply can be stored down there as well. You can see it is plug in, just a simple barrel jack, plugs into the wall, can be stored under the lid so that you don't have to have these things sitting out and a bunch of loose power supplies. And the best part, in my opinion, is that it is stackable. So this dent here, if you have multiple chomp saws, you can stack them, which also saves a little bit of space if you're looking to store them somewhere which has limited space, such as a classroom. So to operate the chomp saw, it's really straightforward. There's only one button that you have to worry about at all, and it just turns the machine on and off. And whenever I turn it on, I won't be able to talk, so I'll try and do the explaining and then turn it on and then do the demo and then turn it off and do a little more talking, just because it makes a noise just like any other power tool, and it'll probably drown me out if I try talking. So I'm just gonna, what I'll do is I'll turn it on. I'll take, this is just a small piece of cardboard I've got. It's a really thin one too. I have regular size that I'll also show as a demo, but you can see how thin this is. I'll just feed it in here through the cutting head, and I'm going to just push it through, and I have a few options to do. I can just push it straight through and get a straight cut, or I can push it, and as I turn the cardboard, I can get curves and shapes. So I'll give a demo of both. And then, so I'm going to turn it on and then I'll come back to talking in just a second. So here's the straight and the curve cuts. So you can really get any shape that you want using the chomp saw, which is pretty awesome. So you got straight cuts, rounded cuts, and then I'll also show you while it's in operation, I'll put my hand all over this thing, and you'll see that I'm not going to get injured. So turning it on, operating, then even if I really try to get in there, it just, the gap is just too small to get cut. So it is very safe to operate. So that's the simple operation of the chomp saw. It does come with two accessories by default. Here we have, this is our hole punch tool, and this is our scoring tool. So the scoring tool, the purpose is pretty simple. I have a piece of cardboard that I cut and I want to make a fold in it. Maybe I want to make a 3D shape. I can take the scoring tool, make a crease, and then fold. So it just gives you nice, clean, folded lines. The hole punch serves a different purpose. I can actually punch a hole in this cardboard, and then I can place it, that hole, the new hole that I cut, over the cutting head, and I can cut out a shape inside. So let's say I'll take this, twist it through, put that over the cutting head, and then I'll turn it on and cut out a shape. So now I've got this internal cutout shape, and I didn't have to start from the edge or anything. I could cut out from the middle. So those are the pieces, the accessories that come standard with every chomp saw. And then there is another set of accessories which we found to be very popular in a lot of school settings. And these are three different accessories that all work with this one swappable lid. So if I take off the original lid and I put in this special accessories lid, I have the one that's already attached right now is the fence guide, and this allows you to get cuts at specific widths and that are very straight. So I can slide this back and forth to get here. I'm on the inches side, but get a 1/2 inch or a whole inch, 1.5 inch. I can even adjust this screw to go all the way out here and get me up to 3.5 inch widths. So what I could do with this, if I screw it down into place, I can go and I can take this piece of cardboard. I'll start it this way, and I can. Okay. Now you can see those two pieces I've got exactly whatever this width is, 2 inches, each of them the same. So this is a very popular tool because we find a lot of kids are trying to cut a bunch of the same piece of the same width. So that's the one accessory that screws into the lid. Then we've got another one, which is our angle guide. This one allows you to cut at different angles. So if you're trying to make, for example, a triangle, or maybe you need to just make a 45-degree angle because you're trying to make a cardboard frame or something, you put this slider down here, put this on here, and I see I just lined it up with the 45-degree line. And now if I put a piece of cardboard on and I push it through, I'm going to end up with a nice 45-degree cut. So there's 45. I messed up, so it's a little curved. But I could do that and I could repeat it with multiple 45-degree cuts, and line them all up and make something like that. Then the last tool we have that comes in that set is called the circle guide. And this one you have either you can pick from inch diameters or centimeter diameters. You place this on top of the cutting head. That's what all these kind of ridges are for. You put it down, picking whichever diameter of circle you want to create. Put it down. You'll need to have your cardboard in place. I didn't prepare a good sample for this job, but I can at least get one started. Put my cardboard in place, pick a size for the circle, press this in, just like that. And now when I turn on the ChompSaw, I can spin the cardboard and it'll be stuck around this pivot point and create a nice round shape. Obviously, mine's going to run into all these other cutouts, but we'll get the idea. Now you see, if I didn't have that one cut out, I would have a nice circle all the way around. So that's the additional accessories kit. The last thing to note about the ChompSaw is where does all the dust go? Because as you can see, I've got this piece that I just cut out, and there's some space. There's a kerf from the cutting shaft that removes some cardboard material, which is for a reason, and I'll explain that in a second. But where does the cardboard dust go? It all goes here into this little drawer, and you can see all these little shavings, which we've actually had a few people reuse for different purposes. We've had some people make like cardboard mache. We've had people actually make fire starter with it, but it all goes in here, collected, and then you can go and you dump that out, and then the ChompSaw won't operate without the drawer in place. So put the drawer back in, and now I'll go really quick over why it removes material and why that's actually a benefit. If I take this piece of cardboard and I just cut a little slot in it, now I have that material removed, and it just happens to be the perfect width to join other cardboard pieces together. So you can really create pretty complex 3D shapes with no glue and no tape. So that is the demo I had prepared, the live demo I had prepared for the ChompSaw. I'm happy to open it up to questions for just a little bit now before we get into how it can be used in a educator setting. And I see there's some in the chat, and maybe that's where I should look first. Never mind, not a question. Any questions about ChompSaw, how it operates? or any of the safety features. Okay, question from Debbie. Yes. Do you need to sharpen the blade or change it over time? We have found that it lasts longer than a year in a classroom slash workshop setting where kids are just using it all day long. It lasts over a year before anybody had to change the blade out. It does get slightly dull. And okay, and it's also worth mentioning that they had this group that we had tested this with first had an older version. We've since improved the lifespan of it, but it is fully replaceable. We have a full repair kit where you can take the chomp saw apart, pop in the new cutting shaft, the new sharp cutting shaft, put it all back together, and get it running like new. So fully replaceable. It does take about a year under classroom or workshop heavy use. I haven't had to change my own personal ChompSaw. I am obviously an adult who's responsible and knows not to put dangerous things in there and dull it out. But again, if somebody does put something in that's not supposed to go in there, like something hard, maybe wood or metal, and that will dull it very quickly, it can still be replaced. It won't ruin the whole machine. You just have to switch that part out. Um, all right, I see another one. Width of the kerf, yes. So the width of the kerf is about 2.5 millimeters. We found that is a really good width for slotting together 3 millimeter cardboard. Just because it's a little more snug so that things hold together really well. So 2.5 millimeter kerf. Yes, and so yeah, thank you, Ryan, for sharing. We've got the ChompSaw itself comes with that scoring tool and hole punch tool, but then we offer the maker bundle, which comes with that additional accessory set, plus a workbook, which has a lot of activities that both help you learn how to use the ChompSaw and how to just create and follow the design process. Those are all included in the maker bundle. And then the new blade for Samantha asks, you can buy the new blade and repair kit. I'm not sure we actually have them posted on our site yet. Right now, you have to reach out to us. And then because we only have a limited amount of repair kits in stock right now, if you reach out to us and I'll put the email in, hello@chompshop.com. Reach out to that email requesting a repair kit, and then we can send you a repair kit. Eventually, once we have them in stock everywhere, it'll just be another product on our website that you can find and order. We have actually had a number of schools request to buy the repair kit at the same time as the ChompSaw, so they just have it when it comes time in a year. They don't have to come revisit. Or they got a grant and the grant covers a certain amount of money right now. They can buy it all right now, but they might not be able to buy it in a year. All right, perfect. Hey, glad to hear that we got some people getting chomp saws. So right now we have a warehouse in the UK. All of our repair kits, I'll have to double check where they're in stock. If we have, I think we plan to stock them in the UK. If not, they're currently stocked in the US. Just because we have limited quantities of them, and we'd be shipping it from the US, we can definitely work with you so you don't have to pay US to UK shipping fees on something that costs $15. It's just that would be absurd. But eventually, it will be in our UK warehouse as well, and then you'll be able to get them shipped directly um, without having to worry about customs and everything.
I think all I'd say on that, we've got one in the office and I've taken it to courses and things. It's not like a Hegner. You're not going to get kids popping blades every other second or so. So it's great that they do repair kit, but it won't be often. Let's say if you're using it with your year sevens or something, they won't be popping like Hegner blades.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I think the longest running test that we've had was about 120 hours of constant cardboard cutting, which it's not easy to translate that into a classroom because every classroom's different and maybe kids are up running it for 2 hours a day. Maybe they're only running it for 30 minutes a day. Maybe they're running it all day long. So it depends on your classroom and use. But yeah, it's very sturdy and rugged, but also replaceable. So hopefully not something to be too worried about. All right. So if there aren't any more questions right now about the ChompSaw itself, I can get into some of our educator resources and how the ChompSaw is being used currently in schools and how it can be used soon. So I'll go back to this presentation. Okay, so that's the end of the demo. So how are educators using the ChompSaw? So this is just an example from one classroom that sent us some photos of what they'd done as a class together. And this was a pattern that we'd actually provided them. And we'd actually love to provide everyone in this call with this pattern as well, just because it's a fun one. It's a puppet head. And this one we collaborated with a cardboard designer based in the UK. His name is Sam Wild, and he creates a bunch of cardboard. He creates actually like a cardboard cardboard theater. And we worked with him to develop this pattern. And we've had a few classrooms use it as their jumping off point with the chomp saw because it's very straightforward. Follow this pattern, tape here, glue here, but then it opens up to a little more creativity. What are you going to add as far as eyes, ears, noses, and then the opportunity to paint or bedazzle them. So this is one example of how classrooms are using it. Other classrooms are building things as a class. We actually ran a challenge last summer, and we had a few classrooms who entered as a class together into the challenge. So they created something all together and submitted it to be this challenge. And that was just based on a single prompt that we'd given them. And yeah, so a lot of people are using it for arts and crafts, just the hands-on, just the experience of building. Other teachers are using it as an extension to create that hands-on experience as part of like a science lesson. And others are using it to teach the design thinking experience or design thinking techniques. So that's how we're seeing it used right now. How could it be used and how it is also being used this way, but how it can be used more effectively or just with a little more uh, ri rigidity. We've got our website has an educators section on it. And so I'm going to pull that up and we can all look at it and I can walk you through what's available on this part of our website. So it's just chompshop.com/educators, and that will take you right to the site you're looking for. So right here, we have all these resources. Obviously, this is US focused that were available on Amazon. But if you scroll down, you run into our curriculum. So we work together with a group of educator consultants who work really closely with a lot of schools in this area and worked with them to develop this curriculum, which is offered for free to all teachers that they can use either as a jumping off point or they can just use it as it is. We worked to have this meet specific standards here in the US, and so we don't have a great idea of how that translates to standards in the UK, but you may be able to find that out yourself. But we are also working to develop these into more international focused curriculum, stuff that meets standards in different countries as well. So when you go into the curriculum section of our website, you can see our badging lessons here, and this is just the getting introduced to the chomp saw. So very simple, how to use it, making simple shapes, maybe creating a few 3D objects. So you can go here and you can actually see these lessons here. They're just public here, shared link in our Google Drive, which you can then download and edit or copy and edit yourself or just use as is. But you can see we've got the learning objectives, the standards it meets, obviously, again, for the United States, what you need to know before you start, materials you'll need, driving questions, and then the activity and procedures, and then the questions, assessment options that you have at the end, and then additional resources that we offer through our website. So we've got several badges that you can do until you're a Chomp ChompSaw Pro by the time you completed badge 8. And not every class is going to need to walk through each of these badges, and you may be able to jump straight in, depending on the skill level of your students, jump straight into these lesson plans. So we have them broken up right now, kindergarten through second grade, and then third through fifth grade, and sixth through eighth grade. So different levels and backgrounds, and so different skill and challenge levels that we have in each of these different lesson plans. So if I pulled up, for example, I could go here and view the lesson on 3D shapes for these kindergartners, primary school children. And I can see I've got one full-on presentation ready to go that you can just use for your class, along with the curriculum and the objectives. So the same that we saw in the badging lessons, walk through the objectives, the standards, the materials, the activity itself, and how much time we expect it would take, and then assessment options there at the end, along with any other resources you might need. So for example, this lesson is all about creating a 3D shape. So we provide a pattern, a printable pattern for a cube net, which you could cut out, have the kids cut out and then shape, or a pyramid or rectangular prism. And then they're able to go and take it to the next level as well. So that's an example of our kindergarten just through second grade lesson plan. Then we've got our third to fifth grade, which start to get a little more complicated and less focused on the building with cardboard and more focused on the problem solving. So, for example, fixing potholes. You wouldn't immediately think that cardboard could fix that problem, but prototyping with cardboard and going through the design thinking process can. And so that's what these lessons are all focused on. And again, we've got all the resources you need, namely this page, which walks you through the objectives, standards, and the activity itself, and how to get kids, your students, um, building, making, and thinking in a design thinking way. So those are the, get back here. Those are the resources we have for the classroom. And then the last thing we have is just this open-ended design worksheet, which are just different exercises. And it's totally separate from cardboard building and ChompSaw and entirely design thinking focused, and different exercises to help you learn how to think like a designer, and different brainstorming activities. And these are all, most of these, if not all of them, are built on exercises that we did when we were students, when we were coming up with the ChompSaw. And so they're tried and true and effective, and we know they work. And we've formatted them in a way that can be taught to younger kids as well.
Ja, software issues that you get from.
So we've got, let's see, go back to my presentation. I think that is, yeah. So that's what I had prepared to share and demo today, and I'm happy to take any questions. I'm sure there are many. This is a new tool, and I know it's not always intuitive about how it works. And then also happy to answer questions about our educator resources, plans, and even timelines about moving things more international as well.
Thanks, Max. Yeah, any questions, anyone? We're being just like our students and not us. Some bits in the chat, Max, not necessarily questions.
Sure. But yes, Paul is right. This is you're buying a whole system, really. You're paying for the tool, and then everything else, educator side is all included, free. We don't charge for any of that. We want to encourage classrooms to use it, and we're passionate about education and giving these resources to children. So yeah. And then as far as, I'm not sure if anyone in the call has used this in a class of that size. We do have quite a few educators in classrooms that have that large classrooms up to 30 kids. And they typically, what we've seen this happen where they buy one and then learn that they need another one. and then learn that they might need another one. And so they usually, depending on how they're allowed to make purchases, they either buy a handful up front or they slowly buy more and stock their classrooms. We found that you can usually get away with 3 to 5 kids on a chomp saw, depending on the activity, because they can cycle through. Because some of them are going to be cutting, and then once they're done cutting, they're going to be assembling, and another part of the group could be planning. So there's a lot of activities going on at the same time. The cutting actually happens for a pretty short amount of time relative to the entire process. So you don't need one chomp saw for each kid, but it can. We also see kids fighting and elbowing each other trying to get their turn on the chomp saw. So and yeah, so buying the chomp saw now, yeah, future access to the curriculum going forward. The curriculum is always going to be free. We're never going to charge for it. So it's yeah, if you buy a chomp saw now, even if you don't buy a chomp saw, the curriculum is there on our website. You can access it. So yeah. Yeah, we actually have a lot of younger children using the ChompSaw. My own son uses it a lot. He was our first tester. He was only Wow, he was only a year and a half when we first started this thing. He's now 4.5. And it's actually really cool. This is very anecdotal because it's only one kid, and obviously I love him and I think he's a genius. But seeing his growth after using the chomp saw so much, like he's really skilled at scissors now too. So that's kind of a separate skill, still cutting, but with a different tool. And just seeing how he cuts compared to the other kids in his class right now, and how he thinks about how the material moves and cuts. So instead of trying to twist his scissors around to get crazy cuts, he's moving his paper and holding the scissors more steady because that's the technique you learn while using the chomp saw. So it's interesting the influence that's had on him. And I'm really just excited to see how that uh, keeps influencing as he gets older and is a little more independent.
Brilliant. Thank you, Max. Really appreciate it. If anyone after this call has got any other questions, then you can obviously drop ourselves a line. I think Max dropped an email into the chat as well, so feel free to reach out to hello@chompshop.com. But like with some of the links, we only sell stuff in our shop that we really think is good for educators. And as I say, we were lucky enough to get, I think, the first one in the UK. It's got the American plug on it, so I need to try and swap that one day. But anyway, and they're fab. So I rate them, and I think I'd use them in my class as well. But yeah, if you want any more information, drop one of us a line, and we can help you out with any questions and stuff. Right, I can see some people are still at school, so you need to get home safely but quickly. And enjoy the rest of your evenings. Thanks again to Max. Nice to see a little cameo from Kelsey as well. Keep safe, and we'll speak to you soon. But yeah, thanks everybody, and yeah, all the best. Thanks again.
Thanks all. Thanks for hosting.